In this video, we're going to compare two of the hottest hatchbacks on the US market today, and that is the GR Corolla versus the Golf R. Not the GTI, we're going to have a look at the R in this video. Before we jump into the design, let's talk about some of the spec and tech here, because these are very close. So the GR Corolla has a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder engine, but it pumps out 300 horsepower and comes only with a 6-speed manual transmission and all-wheel drive, and this gives it a 0 to 60 time in around 4.4 seconds. The base price is expected to land around $32,000 for the Corolla. However, if I was getting this, I would definitely go with the $45,000 Morizo edition. But there's just one problem. They're only going to build 200 Morizo GRs in 2023, and I guess my suspicion is that all of them have already been sold. On the inside of the Corolla, you'll find an 8-inch infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. Now, talking about the Golf R, I really like this car. I think it's a gorgeous machine. It's powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, so they added 1 cylinder compared to the Corolla. It is making 315 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Also all-wheel drive here, which launches the Golf R to 60 miles per hour in just 3.9 seconds. And there's also a drift mode. The Golf R, it only comes as a loaded Golf, and then pretty much the only option that you have is to choose between either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. I would probably go with the manual here, even though I know that the 7-speed dual clutch is really good in the Golf R. The price for the R is the same as the Morizo GR at $45,000, making this a very tough choice, which ultimately for me comes down to the design and the feeling that they give me when I look at them and the first impressions. So let's talk about that right now. Let's have a look at the designs of these two cars. Super cool that both Toyota and Golf are still making these type of cars, because I think they're kind of slowly phasing out these type of hot hatches in favor of crossover SUVs and EVs and stuff like that. Up top we have the Corolla GR, and I really like this design. It's such a cool, fun design. It shows that designers had a lot of fun designing this car for sure. Definitely rally inspired with these wheels and this massive intake in the front end, which has a little bit of a different outline to the Yaris Corolla, for example, and the Yaris GR. And I made a redesign of the Corolla GR a while back, just changing a few subtle changes in the front end and also adding some rally wheels to the design. But I do like this design. I think we need more of these designs that don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, just look at the rear fender and how beefy this is. You can tell that it's not really integrated well, but I don't think it has to be. It's supposed to be a rally-inspired car, and with that comes rally-inspired design as well. It's not supposed to be very elegant. It's just gonna look, I want it to look like a rally car for the streets, and I think this accomplishes that very well. So the difference between the base GR Corollas and the Morizo edition is, some of the changes is, you have more torque. You have 295 pound-feet of torque in the Morizo compared to, I think, 272 or 73 pound-feet of torque. And they also decided to take the rear seats and just throw them out to save some weight in the rear, which I think is a really cool idea. You also have different wheels in the Morizo and different tires as well. So comparing the GR Corolla to the Golf, this is a very good example of just how German the Golf and Volkswagen in general is. It's a very serious design, and it doesn't have anything that's added to it that's not supposed to be there in comparison to what the Corolla has up there. This is a way more elegant design, and some might say that it's a little more boring than the Corolla, and I totally agree with that. I also talked about this front end having this slope to it, so I would love to have this be more upright, the front end. I think it looks too sleek, like the wind is kind of pulling back the face of the front end, but it's a clean design. I like the design of the Golf, specifically in the R version, where you have this more aggressive front fascia and these three colors. You can have it in white, blue, or black. Those are the only colors you can have for this specific Golf. Let's jump in to the side view before we look at the rear and also the interior of these two cars and comparing both. So look at all the lines that we have in the GR Corolla. There's crazy amount of lines, just don't really have a good line flow to it. But as I said, it doesn't matter in this car to me. And another thing I wanted to show in the front view that I really like that I forgot to mention is the logo is in center, and then we have all these lines cutting or kind of pointing to the center, which is the logo in the front end, and that comes back, as I'm going to show you, more so in the rear end as well. So it has some sort of continuity in the styling and the graphic features of the car. And this piece, this is a must-have if I were to buy the GR Corolla. This rear end spoiler, specifically from a side view like this, it just sets the design off very nicely and kind of shoots off this top line that we have going from the roof going in here. Boom, it just creates a ramp for it to just take off, makes it look more balanced when you look at it from a side view like this when it comes to the styling. I love the wheels as well. Very simple design for the wheels. Black works with this charcoal color, which is gorgeous as well. So pretty cool design by Toyota. The Golf, totally different. We have a nice line flow right here, one shoulder line up there. Then we have the other shoulder line going from the top corner of the taillight straight in to the top corner of the headlight. This is textbook German design. Then we have this bottom part as well going into the bumper, also textbook German design philosophy right here. There's nothing that is surprising about the Golf in its design. I think it's a clean design. You also have this beautiful top spoiler in the Golf as well, which I also think sets off the design nicely. Confident lines and proportions of the Golf R. I do like these wheels. However, I think I prefer the Corolla's black wheels in this case. Looking at it from a rear view before we jump into the interior, and this is, I think, where the GR Corolla just looks, it looks crazy cool and crazy fun. So we talked about the front end and the lines going into the logo here. Let's have a look at the rear. This is what I'm talking about. You have the center logo right here. Then we have the line of the top part of the taillights from both sides, obviously going in. Then we have these lines in the bottom of the trunk, also making a turn right here and creating these lines, also pointing to the mid part of the logo. And I think it's just a beautiful design to have all these lines pointing in this direction. It creates a lot of movement in the design, and it creates a strong identity for the regular Corolla as well, not just the GR Corolla. I do maybe think that the lower diffuser here sticks up a little bit too much, but it definitely suits the Corolla better than it does, for example, the WRX, the new one, which totally looks off when I look at that car from a rear view with the massive plastic diffuser in the rear. For some reason, it just works better on the GR Corolla here. And here you can also see this massive spoiler that we have up top looking beautiful and super rally car-like on this car. Beautiful design by Toyota and by Volkswagen as well. So we have the same type of philosophy going all around the car, being more serious design with the Golf, but that's also what it's supposed to be. But one thing you can't deny when it comes to the rear view of the Golf are these. Look at these gorgeous 4 bazooka tailpipes in the down part of the diffuser right here on each side, symmetrical, looking beautiful. And of course the diffuser, look at the height of the diffuser on the Corolla and compare that to the height of the diffuser on the more subtle Golf right here. They kind of take it easy with the styling, and I guess the designers don't really have as much fun in the Volkswagen office as they have in the Toyota office. That's just my guess. But also I do like the tailpipes on the Corolla here. Very unique with this centerpiece being oval, and then you have 2 pipes on each side there. Even though it's just a 3-cylinder, it's really cool to see. All right, let's jump in to the interior. And here is, if you think about when you're buying a car, I mean, I do want to appreciate the exterior, because I feel like I'm doing my surroundings a service by driving a nice looking car, giving them a piece of art that just rolls by and make their day a little better. But when you realistically think about when you're buying a car, this is the place where you're gonna spend most of your time, obviously, driving it on the inside. So it's important to have a nice, cozy interior, and I think both of these cars do this pretty well, even though they have completely different design philosophies when it comes to the styling. What they took on the outside, they also bring that into the interior. A lot more curvature and styling in the Toyota, as you can see. Not a lot of straight lines. We do have some straight lines here for the vents, and then we have some more styling on the infotainment system right here, and the steering wheel as well. It looks pretty stylized, but at the same time pretty simple and maybe a little cheap from just looking at it like this. Then we also have a fully digital gauge cluster here that has a nice little cozy house for it with a roof, so you don't get the glare from the sun on those summery days when you roll the windows down. Looking at the Golf, a lot more structured in this Golf, just like we have on the exterior as well. A lot more straight lines, as you can see in the interior, less stylized part of the infotainment screen right here, and this center part looks also a lot less stylized in the Golf. And I think the wheel and the overall interior feels more premium in the Volkswagen, and I'm not really surprised by that. Specifically looking at this area in the gear stick, I think the gear stick of the Golf looks a lot more solid and sturdy than the stick in the Corolla up here. And if I were to pick a car just based on the interior, I'm gonna have to go with the Golf because I think it looks a lot more solid and feels more quality when I just look at them like this. And from my experience sitting in both Volkswagens and Toyota, I still think that that's the case between these two models as well. So which one of these would I personally buy if I have $45,000 to spend on a hot hatch? First of all, I think both of these are really good deals. They're both 300 horsepower plus hot hatches with manual transmission and four-wheel drive. I think that's fantastic that they are offered for sale in today's world. But if I were to pick one of these, I'm gonna have to go with the GR Corolla because I think it's such a fun design and it's more unique than the Golf R, and I think it's more of an enthusiast car, both in probably in driving experience and also in overall design. But if I could pick any hot hatch right now, save a couple of $1,000s and buy the GR Yaris, unfortunately it's not coming to the US, which is a shame, because I think that would be such a cool car to have here. And I think that would make Americans appreciate hot hatches a little bit more, because that's a proper two-door tiny little package, probably like a go-kart to drive. And that's what I want to see. If I'm gonna go hot hatch, I want to go all out hot hatch, and that means a GR Yaris. But for the US market, I'm gonna have to go with a GR Corolla.